Hello, my name is Darby Dickerson, and I'm the Dean of Texas Tech University School of Law.
And I'm Donna Bachler, along with Grapefruit, my service dog.
On behalf of Texas Tech University School of Law's Center for Military Law and Policy, we're pleased to bring you this training video. This video is designed primarily for the service industry, ranging from hotels to restaurants to museums, car rental agencies, taxis, and every other business that interfaces with the public. We will be providing you with the information that you and your employees need to know about dealing with the service animal. But if you do have specific questions, we encourage you to contact a licensed attorney in your area.
Service dogs are being used these days to aid a larger population than traditionally has in the past. Years ago, we would have referred to all these service animals as seeing eye dogs, but now these animals are used to help with a wider range of disabilities, facilitating an integrated lifestyle. You may not have come in contact with a service dog before, but the chance that you will is getting greater every day.
This program will have Donna and Grapefruit in a real-world scenario that they face countless times. We will provide you with the information to know how to handle this and similar situations the correct way. So pay attention, you will be tested later.
We really hope you find this program useful and you will pass it along to others. The situations presented here could all be avoided easily. That's why we made this program, to give people like yourself the tools needed. Thanks so much for watching.
I'm sorry, miss. We don't allow dogs in here.
He's a service animal.
We don't allow service dogs.
People with disabilities have the same right to use facilities and services open to the public that everyone else does. Using a service animal almost never limits that right.
That's right. Under the Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA, privately owned businesses serving the public are prohibited from refusing to service someone with a service animal. That would be discrimination based on a disability. State and local governments usually have similar laws, but if the ADA is different from the state or local law, it's usually the ADA that will control. The only exception, of course, would be a law providing additional rights to an individual with a service animal.
Grapefruit and I don't have any objection to that.
Here are some examples of businesses and other locations that are subject to the ADA.
So basically, any place that's open to the public, the law applies to them. Oh, and one more thing. In 2011, the law changed to limit service animals to dogs and sometimes miniature horses. But for our purposes, we're going to focus on dogs, even if Grapefruit does kind of look like a horse.
Well then, I will need to charge you a pet deposit.
He's not a pet, he's a service animal. That's true. The law says a service animal is not a pet.
The ADA requires you to modify any no-pet policy you might have to allow for service animals. This includes places that serve food, as the ADA supersedes local health code regulations in this regard. Now, this doesn't mean you can't have a no pets or no animal policy, but it does mean you must make an exception for service animals.
It's for the extra work it will take to clean the room.
You can't charge anything extra for his presence. A business can't charge a person with a service animal anything more than they would charge a customer who didn't have one. And this doesn't mean that the business owner has no recourse if their property is damaged. In that case, the animal's handler would be charged just the way you would charge someone else for the same damage. The rule of thumb here is, would you charge another customer the same thing? If the answer is no, then you can't charge the handler for it either.
Can I see his certification?
There's no such thing.
Someone else came in here with one.
The ADA doesn't require, or recognize for that matter, any certification for service animals. It also doesn't recognize any registration or license.
The law actually goes so far as to make it illegal to even ask for a certification. Some states and cities do have their own registries, but since the federal law doesn't require it, a handler isn't required to participate in these programs. There are companies on the internet who will register your dog as a service animal, and a lot of legitimate service animal handlers will go so far as to buy these just to avoid access challenges like we see here. This has the unintended consequence of making it harder for handlers who are within the law but choose not to buy these products.
How do I know he's actually a service dog? You could have bought that vest anywhere.
That's true. In fact, the law doesn't require that a service dog wear any identifying cape or harness at all. The majority of handlers do choose to equip their animal with one for the animal's protection and to alert people that they shouldn't distract the dog.
Legally, you can only ask 2 questions when an animal enters your establishment. First, is it a service animal? If the answer is yes, what types of tasks does he perform? Be aware that the answer to this question might be vague. For example, a blind person might say mobility assistance, and that's acceptable. Like we said before, service animals can assist a handler for a variety of conditions, many of which may not be obvious.
Exactly, and asking further probing questions is akin to just outright asking the person what their disability is. And you can't ask that the dog demonstrate any task to prove he's a service animal either.
Now, I know that sounds frustrating, but you aren't completely helpless. If you doubt that the dog is legitimate, judge him by his actions. The law states that if the dog disrupts your business through things like excessive barking or aggressive action, you can ask the handler to leave, just as you'd be within your rights to ask anyone to leave if they disrupted your business.
Remember the rule of thumb. If you wouldn't do it to somebody without a dog, you can't do it to the handler either.
I need to get my manager.
No, you really don't.
Is there a problem here?
No, I just want to get my room, please.
That'll be no problem. Your service animal is welcome, of course. We'll just need to get you a handicapped accessible room.
You already know what I'm going to say, don't you? Would you put a customer without a dog in the handicapped room? If the answer is no, I reserved a regular room.
Wouldn't you be more comfortable in an accessible room?
No, I really wouldn't. I appreciate the consideration, but just let me decide what's best for me.
Okay, no problem, ma'am. I'm sorry about that. There's your key. Our restaurant is open until 10 o'clock tonight, but because of health department rules, you won't be able to bring your service dog into the restaurant.
This tends to be a source of confusion for business owners where two laws seem to be at odds with each other. Again, you just kind of follow that rule of thumb. If the public's allowed in there, so is the dog.
So the dog is allowed anywhere? I mean, there has to be places where that's not true.
There are places a service dog can't go, like an operating room in a hospital. But when you think about it, the general public can't go there either. For 99% of businesses, you have to give the animal access, regardless of what any other law says about animals.
Well, what about a restaurant where there's a chef's table in the kitchen?
Doesn't matter. You can't use the dog as a restricting criteria.
But I mean, what if somebody is allergic to dogs?
It still doesn't matter. The law clearly stipulates that allergies or fear of dogs is not a reason to deny access. I mean, sure, you want to accommodate the guy with an allergy, but think about this logically. Do you tell a blind man he isn't allowed to have help getting around because it makes someone else sneeze?
No, I suppose not.
It's really easy when you stop to think about it. I mean, simply just imagine that the dog isn't there, or a wheelchair. It's a tool to help a disabled person integrate with the world around them. Truly, the best way to handle the situation is to not acknowledge the animal at all.
Not at all? That seems kind of rude. Can't they acknowledge the dog positively? That's not illegal, is it?
Well, yes and no. It's illegal to distract a working service dog, but people do this all the time without thinking about it. All the time. They pet the dog, they whistle at him, they tell him he's a good boy. There's nothing illegal about acknowledging the dog to the owner, but don't distract him because he's working.
I've always wondered about that. Why can't you pet a service dog? Do they bite?
Not at all. In fact, a service dog is actually forbidden to be trained in a guard dog capacity, and a bite would definitely fall under the disruptive behavior category. You have to remember, these dogs are trained amazingly well, it's true, but at the end of the day, they're dogs. They might sniff something, they might get distracted. Well, it's not like anyone else is 100% perfect at their job. It's when these instances become excessive that you should question the dog's validity. Now, that being said, if you're distracting the dog by petting him or talking to him, he'll have a hard time remembering he's at work and it's not time to play. It's like someone coming up to you at work and handing you a controller to a video game.
That would definitely be distracting.
Would make it pretty hard to get any work done if they kept insisting that you play with it.
Yeah, very hard. But could I be arrested for petting the dog?
Technically, yes, even though it seems like no big deal. This is a very serious issue. Imagine you're at a crosswalk and you're petting a blind man's dog. He wags his tail, licks your hand, and the interaction is all pretty friendly. And then you make a step onto the street and he follows, continuing far on after you stopped, taking the handler with him into traffic.
Oh no.
Exactly, and if your distracting of the dog leads to his injury, your $500 fine becomes a $5,000 fine. I know this example is an amazing exaggeration, but the truth is you just don't know, and it is pretty serious, so don't distract the dog, no matter how cute he is.
Okay, as promised, here's the test.
Yep, let's see who was really paying attention.
Question 1. You work at a movie theater. A customer enters the lobby with a dog. The dog is on a leash. The dog does not have any other identifying information. Select the best answer. A, because Grapefruit is not identified as a service animal, he is automatically subject to the theater's no pet policy. B, you may ask Donna whether Grapefruit is a service dog. Or C, pet Grapefruit because he's awesome.
B is the answer. A service animal doesn't have to wear anything special.
You can ask Donna whether Grapefruit is a service dog. If she answers yes, you can ask what task he performs, but that's it. Remember, asking more questions violates the Americans with Disabilities Act because it forces Donna to disclose her disability. Question 2. Donna rents a car and drives Grapefruit all around the state of New Jersey. When she returns the car, the employee sees Grapefruit getting out of the car, notices a small amount of fur, and then demands that she pay a pet fee. The car was not damaged in any way. Select the correct answer. A. The company can charge this sort of fee if it charges it for all other animals that ride in the car. B. The company cannot charge a pet fee for a service dog. Or C. Donna should avoid renting cars in New Jersey.
The correct answer is B again. A service dog is not a pet, period. Because there was no damage, the company can't charge extra. Dog fur doesn't constitute damage to property. It's no worse than crushed up Cheerios from the kid in the next car over. As long as it isn't excessive, it should be considered the same. Dog fur, Cheerios, doesn't matter. At least not when it's a service animal.
Now for the last question. Donna and Grapefruit enter a restaurant. The employee asks Donna for Grapefruit certification as a service animal. Donna explains that certification is not required. The employee asks Donna to leave. Donna asks to order food. The employee calls the police. When the police arrive, they are most likely to A. Arrest Donna, B. Arrest the worker, or C. Arrest Grapefruit, even though he's awesome.
If the police are called in for a situation like this, the worker is most likely to be arrested for interfering with the service animal. In virtually all states, this is a crime for which you can be fined and/or imprisoned. Google it. You'll be surprised about how many workers are arrested in similar circumstances.
Thank you for participating in our training session. We appreciate you taking the time to learn more about this important issue. After the credits, we'll provide you with some additional resources if you want to learn more. And again, please refer specific questions to a licensed attorney in your jurisdiction.
We hope you learned something, and we hope you pass this video on to others. Thanks for watching.